Anyway, hello and welcome to the 144th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. Today we're doing a Death Note review, the Netflix Death Note, we should say.
2017.
2017, yes. I am your host, Dylan Muss.
I am the Death God, Jessica.
I am the dealer's choice, Taylor Field.
You guys thought about this all day.
I'm the co-host, Tyler.
It works. It's like I guess they're the experts then. So
yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't call Taylor an expert.
No, I'm probably more expert than he is, but I didn't think of anything fancy, so I just played off of yours.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, let's just quickly go through like what our history is with Death Note. Personally, this is my first ever Death Note movie. I was considering watching the anime before this movie came out, but I was like, no, it's probably good to have like various perspectives for this review. So this is my first entrance into Death Note. I have heard about it, like I've known about it for a few years, so I know what the core concept was, but I didn't really know what the story was. So this is pretty much a new experience for me.
Death Note was like the first anime that I ever watched. So I watched it many years ago, and then I ended up reading the manga. I ended up buying the DVDs. I actually have like a physical Death Note, and then.
Does it work?
I think we were all wondering the same thing.
If I tell you, I'd have to kill you.
Okay.
Okay, and then, so a couple months ago, when we decided that we were going to do a review for this, I actually went and rewatched the series again.
Mm-hmm.
So about a month ago, I binge-watched the entire thing. So I'm coming into this right off of the series. I know exactly what just happened. And, yeah, so.
Right on.
I didn't even know this existed, like, until I heard they were making a Death Note movie, and I was like, Death Note, that seems kind of cool. And they showed the trailer. I'm like, this seems like a legit movie. And it's based on an anime, and the anime must be stellar. So I never watched the anime, but I saw it was on Netflix. But I didn't go watch it.
The anime is on Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. So this is my first experience with Death Note.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. I've watched the anime. Is probably one of like the first 5 anime I ever watched. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. But that was years ago, so 2 years ago maybe. So it's not like super fresh, but I still have like a very solid idea of the anime compared to the movie that just happened. So
right.
I feel like I can make some good comparisons.
Hopefully, because
Hey.
I can. So.
Alrighty.
So yeah, let's hop into a quick spoiler-free, just overall, like, what did you think of this? Obviously, your guys' perspective is probably going to be a lot different than me and Taylor, but we'll start with you, Tyler. What did you think? As a movie.
As a movie, it was very. It went really fast. I felt like you didn't feel a lot of the motivations that should have been there.
Right.
And it did nothing really had enough. They never really nothing really had much impact. I feel like they never spent enough time on anything to have impact. Overall, I thought it was a pretty bad movie, honestly. If you want like a good Death Note experience, just go watch the anime. Yeah, not a movie you need to watch.
Even the Japanese live action.
I haven't seen that.
Oh,
but
I have seen that.
Better?
Better than this. Not as good as the anime, but that middle ground. If you've got an hour and a half, don't waste it on this. Waste it on that one instead.
There you go.
And that one's still a waste of time. Taylor, what do you think?
I mean, as I said, it's my first experience, so I didn't really know what I was getting into. But I mean, I thought it started off really, really cool, and I liked where it was going. But then all of a sudden, like what Tyler said, I don't know what happened, but it jumped and it got so speedy, and I was thinking, did I just did I pass out and come back in this dimension 10 hours later? Because they skipped a lot of stuff, and it just totally caught me off guard. So that part really just pulled me out of the experience. But I mean, after that, then as it started to get further on, I got pulled back in, and I quite enjoyed it. So I don't have much to compare it to, but I mean, I kind of liked it. So
There you go.
I feel like that's a bad sign though for Taylor. I kind of liked
Kinda
it.
like
Jessica?
So I had a hard time actually not comparing it to the anime. I 100% wanted to go in and be like, this is its own thing. Just don't compare it. But it doesn't do enough to be its own movie or do enough to be like the
To
anime
capture,
itself.
the good parts.
Yeah,
of the
it's a mixture of a new movie and the anime, and it's not at a good level. Like, they should have either gone all new or all remake, not this kind of mashup of both. And I do agree with, like, the timing of this movie is really weird. There was one point I, like, checked. I was like, how much is left? Like, I feel like there's still a shit ton that needs to happen. I paused it, and there's 15 minutes. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously this is gonna suck. So, I do think that you'd have a better experience going in with no knowledge. After just have watched the anime a month ago, I could not separate the two, and I was severely disappointed.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Like, the pacing of it was just really weird. I was actually getting flashbacks to the most recent Fantastic Four movie. Because in that movie, like, they kind of meet and they, like, get their power, like, they get, whatever it is, infused with, like, their powers. And then the movie is, like, 1 year later. Like, it says that. And then you just, like, skip everything in terms of, like, the characters getting to know each other and learning their powers and stuff like that. And it felt like the same in this movie. Like, it seemed like months had gone by. Like, I think it's only, like, I don't know, a couple weeks or something, maybe a month. But it just seems like, it almost as if, like, it took, like, a series, like a TV show, and then just, like, this was, like, a highlight reel of, here are the key, like, concepts. And so, from that perspective, like, I think the story, I don't think there was really any, like, padding in there. Like, everything seemed like it actually had a purpose. It just wasn't done well. And, like, the characters don't really make any sense for the most part. I like some of the, like, quirkiness of the characters, and I mean, I don't know how that compares to what they're like in the other formats, but I thought there was at least some, like, unique components to some of these characters. So there was a couple things I sort of liked, but honestly, this is a pretty horrible movie. So I don't really know how, like, a spoiler warning, if it's really necessary for something that's, I mean, I assume the story is at least quite similar to. Okay, well, actually, let's just go right into that, because the first thing normally we start with characters, but I wanted to jump right into, like, the comparisons. I want to hear what you guys think, like, relative to the anime, like, what is similar, what is different, what do you think they tried to do similar, what do you think they tried to do different? Like, I'm really curious.
Do you want to go first? Because I actually wrote out a list.
I didn't write a list, so
I love lists. Let's
so
start with
nice.
the list.
Okay, so entering into the list. So some of the things that they had the same, they did do a really good job as far as, like, Light and Ryuk's voice, which me and Tyler kind of discussed before. They did keep that the dad is a cop. That is the same in the anime. How he finds out about his powers doing the test with the guy holding people hostage and then killing that guy. That's the same. And the orphanage that
Does
trains
the
detectives.
scene with the bully still happen?
No,
it's like these. And then, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's these people at a convenience store committing a crime or something.
Yeah, they're trying to, like, rape a girl, and so then he tests it out on one of the guys, and he ends up dying.
Okay.
So and then he goes.
So that's different.
Yeah, and then he goes home and tries it out on the thing. But so in the other one, if you don't write a cause, they just die of a heart attack.
Okay.
So there's not, like, a random event will happen. It's always, if there's no death specified, it's a heart attack. It's not.
It's not
Dealer's
dealer's choice,
Dealer's
like Taylor.
choice,
Yeah. So.
I was misinformed.
You picked the wrong
Yeah.
nickname.
So, but some of the main differences, like the mom being dead, she's alive in the other one. So, I mean, I guess they were trying to go for the motive on this one, so I can see how that was useful, but that is a difference. He's not actually a bad kid. He doesn't fake people's notes or get detention or things like that. He's really smart. He's top of his class. He studies every night, goes to prep school. So that was kind of different. Also, there's only 10 rules.
Yeah.
Not 99. So I don't know.
Yeah,
what...
that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That surprised me. I was like, "Whoa, I didn't know." Like, I don't even know how you could come up with that many, even if you tried.
So, and also, anyone who touches the note can see and hear Ryuk. So
okay.
that was kind of different, and that also has to play in the anime. Misa is the girlfriend, and she's actually, like, really just kind of quirky and follows around, and Light's just her boyfriend,
Mhm.
and he makes all the decisions, as
Mm.
opposed to kind of the other way around in this one, where
Yeah.
Light's kind of dumb and she's trying to pull all the strings.
Okay.
And also in the anime, she has her own notebook with her own death god.
That's not too much later, though. I feel like, isn't it?
No, it's when they meet, because that's how she
Right,
finds him.
no, you're 100% right. 100% right.
And then also, L like shows himself way more in this than in the anime. You don't actually like get introduced to L until like the end of the first arc, really. Like you just see
Yeah.
his name on a screen, or the L on the screen, and then hear his like messed up voice.
Okay.
And then also this one they talk about how Ryuk like intervenes and stuff. In the other one, he won't do anything. He won't mention any names, give any ideas. Like he wouldn't have ripped down a Ferris wheel. Like he's out of it.
Right.
So those are some of kind of the main differences that I put down. There's other ones too, as far as like Light never wants to write a name. That's never a thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Wait, what do you mean by that?
because in the end he like has the paper and he's like holding the pen over it, and that's how it ends.
Right. Okay.
So there was never any situation where Light even
I mean,
keeps.
L.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I get where the confusion is now.
Yeah.
L never does anything like that. So that was kind of weird as well, having the difference in the personality of him actually debating
Yeah.
using it.
Right.
Whereas in the anime, he's much more calm
Yeah,
and
he would
collected.
never
He
have
doesn't break down ever.
Yeah, you want to stole a car and chased him down, or
Yeah.
like broke into their house during dinner and freaked the frick out. So yeah, so it's way different.
Yeah.
Like the similarities are like I had 4, and the differences
Really?
are like this giant list.
Mhm. Also, the girlfriend isn't. They don't go to the same school at all or anything.
No.
Misa's just like in the anime. She's like a supermodel who learns of Kira after he becomes Kira and is more in love with Kira than Light himself.
Yeah.
And whereas this one, she's like this badass cheerleader, I guess,
Yeah.
troubled kid who, for whatever
Also, kind of like a psychopath.
yeah, I mean, who is for whatever reason somehow interested in Light even before she learns about the Death Note.
I don't even know, like, he doesn't tell anyone in the anime either. Like, it's
Yeah.
this big secret, and then this one, it's like the first 5 minutes, he's like, hey, look at
Yeah,
this.
Yeah.
it didn't take much convincing either. You would think with some like ancient
Yeah.
relic like this that you would be a little bit more secretive, or maybe you'd get to know someone first.
Yeah.
Another thing that isn't really a big criticism that no one else would really care about, but it bothered me, Ryuk always finishes every part of an apple, even the core.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like he was kind of chincing out on those apples.
He
Like,
was.
there was definitely more to be eaten there.
Yeah.
Normally, he eats the entire core and everything. You also see Ryuk in the anime, and even in the Japanese one. This one, it was just like shadow the entire time, and I was just kind of like, do you guys not have the animating budget, or?
What do you mean, like he's like more like you don't see him as much in the anime? Is that what
No,
you said?
like-
You see him much more like clearly.
Yeah, like
He's
in
not
the
like
light.
always in the shadows.
walking
and
around.
just,
Oh,
like,
I see. Okay.
Skulking.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't even technically really know if he looks the same because
Mhm.
they didn't really show him in this movie.
Yeah.
So, quick question then. So, you're saying that anyone who is like holding the book can see Ryuk as well. Obviously, they don't do that in
Anyone
the.
who touches it, but only while they're touching it, right?
No,
Or no, yeah, once they touch it.
once they
can-
touch it, they can see it unless the Death Note like changes owners or anything like that.
Right.
Then it'll.
So, is there any way for to change owners other than to like leave it for 7
Yeah,
days?
you can gift it to someone. I'd give this to you.
Okay.
But in the anime, it's not like Ryuk's like, oh, I'm
So
gonna
if someone like took
this
it
off.
and like wrote something in it, would it work if it wasn't like gifted?
Yeah, as long as
Yep.
they have the name and the picture of their head.
Even if they weren't the keeper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's still the same. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Any other points for you in terms of like comparisons? Like for those things that they changed, like, is there anything that you liked? Like anything
Not
that you were like
really.
that was a good idea?
I mean, for some of them, you can kind of see what they're trying to go for, but for the most part, it just like nothing. They changed all the parts that probably could have stayed the same. That would have captured like the essence, I guess, of the original. I felt like, and then all the stuff they didn't change was just like fluff and unnecessary.
they changed the 3 main characters. Like Misa,
Yeah.
L, and Light are all
Yeah.
100% different.
So within like this movie is obviously focused a lot around like they're at the high school a lot, and there's like the high school dance. Do they kind of Is there anything like that in the anime? Or is that
high school?
so? That's a change that they like intentionally wanted. Then I
Well,
guess.
the anime goes over a year and a half.
It's through his.
He finishes high school.
He finishes
goes
high
into
school and then he
college.
goes to college.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
it's
see.
over like a long span.
Mhm.
Elle ends up actually, spoiler alert, Elle dies, and then it gets taken over by someone else from the orphanage that trains.
Yeah.
So,
the orphanage isn't actually like done. It's still happening.
It's not
Yeah.
some
There's still other childhood.
some dusty old mansion.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, it's
How about the pacing of like how soon he gets the book? Because it pretty much is within the first 5 minutes.
It's literally the anime starts right away. pretty
Okay.
much.
yeah he's in class and he sees it fall out the window and then he walks out after class and picks it up. It's not like it just falls directly beside him.
Yeah.
Anyone could have
He
picked it
also
up.
walks away from it first, and then he comes back and gets it.
Okay.
Not that like it's only like 5 minutes that he walks away and then turns around and comes back. But you know.
Okay, well let's
that's what it is.
I don't know, let's hop into some characters then. I want to hear from Taylor. What do you think about the main character, Light / Kira?
Well, I mean, again, I didn't know how to really base him off of like his other self, but I mean, right when he kind of got introduced, he was very much. He was like a good doer, a do-gooder, and I kind of liked him. So
A good doer, a do-gooder.
a good doer, do-gooder. So he was okay in my books. I thought he was definitely interesting, and he definitely played the part. I don't know, like when he got angry or when he was trying to stay in control. I really liked how he displayed that.
Like acting wise, you mean?
Yeah, and then even like at the end with his whole plan and just how I liked how he felt like he was one up above other people, just kind of with having the Death Note and just his whole outlook on things. I actually quite enjoyed him now that I think about it. I think his adventure was very interesting. Yeah.
I think I'm pretty much on the opposite side of that.
Yeah.
For me, he just like I actually didn't think the acting was very good in like most of the time, like probably 90% of the time.
For Light.
Like just like the way he would like
on his
react to
own,
a
or-
situation. What's that? Sorry.
You're just Light right now.
Yeah, just
Okay.
Light. Like we'll get through the rest
Yeah.
of them as well, but yeah, him in particular. I don't know, just like his facial expressions, and even just that. I don't know. It just
His frosted tips.
his frosted tips. Those were pretty nice.
The Guy Fieri
The
hair.
Guy Fieri hair. But for me, like, I understand that he feels like he's been wronged in his life, but I guess I didn't really understand his turn from like being a good person maybe who was wronged into like some evil mastermind. I guess he's like not fully evil at any point, but he kind of switches back and forth, and it doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of sense. And I guess kind of some of it is because we like skip periods of time, or at least it seems like it. And so his stuff has been going on, and he's been killing a bunch of criminals. But I don't know. For me, he just seemed to switch back and forth scene to scene, and it wasn't consistent like at all.
Nope.
And I don't think he really had like any chemistry with the
Mia?
Mia. Yeah, Mia's her name.
Yeah.
Like those two. I mean, most of the problems on her end, but he was not great at all. There was maybe like a couple scenes where I was like, oh, this is a cool character. The one thing I'll say is I actually like the intro segment. I think it started out pretty good. Like I like the very like first scene when he's just kind of chilling. There's like some music going on. It like has the title, and then it kind of just went downhill from there. But
Yep.
I think it started quick, and I mean I feel like the plot was always progressing pretty fast, even if it didn't make sense. So I don't know. What do you guys think about Light?
Yeah,
In this movie alone, like take away if you can, how Light is from the anime, because we already kind of talked about that.
I mean,
Speechless.
it's hard to not compare it having that previous knowledge of the anime, but basically, like, what made you want to follow and, like, see what he's doing in the anime, they had pretty much none of it. He was very, like, for someone so smart and acting, like, so confidently in some parts, he was very terrified and, like, confused in other parts that just didn't really make sense. Like they tried to make him seem like some really tough guy and like super smart. Not as tough, but like super smart and confident, and like he doesn't really take shit from anyone at the start, and like the opening segment, and then he gets clocked, and like even then the way he stood up to the bully wasn't like, you don't do it, just the way he stood up to him, you could see that confidence even though he's not necessarily tough. And then when Ryuk just like comes out of nowhere and he's just like freaking out and he just seems like a child, and I don't know, he didn't seem like a cool guy. He didn't seem like someone I wanted to do well in life and just succeed. I was like, he's just a guy doing some ambiguously shitty things. Yeah. I don't know. I had no attachment to him, I guess.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm going to compare it, and then I'll go uncompared. In the anime, there's always something that's standing against him, so you're always kind of rooting for him, even though he's doing bad. You just kind of have this feeling like you want him to be able to get over things. He's so smart, and he plays everything. Just like all his moves are so calculated, and everything just kind of keeps moving like a chess game. And then in this, there's really no thought process behind anything. It's like, okay, I'll kill this guy. Oh, I'll kill this guy. And then the chick's like, oh, we should kill this guy. And he's like, oh, no, I don't want to kill that guy. And it's just, there didn't seem to be a lot of reasoning behind anything except for that first guy that he killed, the one that hurt his mom.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess all of their victims or most of their victims are just like random dudes off the internet.
There was only one calculated.
It's hard to feel like connected with his choices in that sense.
Yeah.
So I mean, the character himself, trying to take away from that, I still, I don't think that there was a way to get connected with him with the amount of stuff that happened in such a short period of time without much building. So, anime aside, still, what was there really to make you feel for him? I don't know. That's just, my opinion, I guess.
Talking about Mia, that is like probably one of, if not the worst character I've like seen in a movie this year. Like, I don't understand that character like at all. Like there was for me at least, there was like I didn't understand a single like motivation, or you don't even really get like any sort of like backstory or know anything about her previously. To me, like I don't know, their relationship was like really strange, and I don't know, I just couldn't feel like connected with that character at all. Like she seemed so unrealistic, and I mean, I don't know what it was like in the anime, but obviously there is like some component of this edition of Death Note that's trying to be more relatable or realistic. That's probably why they, went in with like more high school stuff, and you have like your school dance, and there's get to know like some bullies and shit. I don't know, like there's a bunch going on. I guess it's supposed to be relatable, but I don't know where the hell you're supposed to connect with that character. Like she was just all over the place. She was like evil, and then she wasn't maybe, but she was, I don't know. I really can't even understand that character.
I think the part of the like goal behind her character was to make someone else more evil than L, so that people can like relate more and like him more.
Than Light?
Yeah, than Light. Sorry, not L. So like,
I'm not the only one.
I feel like they tried to make Light seem like less of a bad guy. They intentionally tried to make him seem like less of a bad guy in the movie than in the anime. They never really picture him as a bad guy or a good guy. It's left up to, it's supposed to be morally ambiguous.
Yeah. Whereas
in this one, they tried to kind of led you along for how you're supposed to feel about him, and then she was kind of that scapegoat for him in the end to still kind of be a good guy, so you're rooting for him, and you can be like, oh well, she's the evil one, he's not that bad, but that kind of like misses the whole point of what the original material is based off. But that's comparing everything and whatnot. So she was a trouble character, and just the opening sequence for her too, just like I hated that when she's like cheerleading, and then they have her like in the center for the cheerleading, and she's just like
Disturbed.
I am in the most important cheerleading position for the team, and I don't give a shit about anything. It's like, how'd you get there? And then she's like walking away smoking while they're still in practice. I was like, what? Who is this? Who did this?
That character makes no sense.
It's more relatable, Tyler. Come on.
And then she like looks over to Light, for no reason. They have no prior connection. She like looks over to him and gives him this like weird, I'm sort of maybe into you look, and I'm just like, why is that there? They don't know each other. Not a lot made sense.
No, she was very hard to kind of connect with. I didn't like her that much as a character. I won't lie. I mean, either it was because of the way, like, who she was as a character, or it was because of her relationship with Light. I just thought it was kind of weird, like, they would be, like, looking up criminals and, like, all over each other and letting their hormones go at it, thinking, like, this is, like, not a healthy relationship based on murdering murderers, but, you know, that's the way it's going, I guess. So, she... when found out like that she was bad at the end, and she started like she when she did the one bad thing, and then she's like, I'm sorry, I love you, and all that, I was like, oh, maybe there's hope for this character, like it's kind of turning around. That's good, because I was kind of really just kind of like, oh, just go away. But when she pulled those seriously bad strings and was like, oh, I put your name in the death note, I was like, oh, this just got real. Like, this is legit. Now she is like a villain. I don't know who to root for anymore now, like. And that's when I started to kind of like her, but overall, I didn't like her enough to not like her. I still don't like her, but
the cons outweighed the pros.
Yeah, well, she's dead now, so I mean,
she did die.
She did die.
True.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah.
That's nice of him,
Really?
at least.
Yeah, he wrote instantly.
Okay.
He could have been salty.
Like instantly
not
when she hits the
instantly.
ground, or like
Yeah, it dies
in the air.
instantly. Yeah,
Okay.
hits the dock and dies instantly, or hits the
Okay.
shoreline.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's unnecessary. Just
Mm-hmm.
because she
Fall
hits
with
the dock and dies,
Break an
and
arm.
one would assume she would die instantly from falling.
But the dock, there could have been like a gas tank that could have exploded underneath, and she could have burned alive. Like there could have been anything. She could have fell through the dock and drowned.
I
Like
think it's implied
That's
that
true.
she died from hitting the dock.
Well, in this case, it's dealer's choice.
dealer's choice.
Yeah, let Ryuk do what he pleases.
Shark.
So, yeah, whoever was, brought up a good point that do you even know why she wanted the Death Note or why she was
Nope.
obsessed with taking it?
There was no, not that I can think of.
Well, I think why she wanted to take it from Light was because he was hesitant, and like obviously the first instance is just like the police officers, the FBI people in general. He's not okay with that because he only kills bad criminal people.
Yeah.
And then obviously he has the connection. I mean, it's his father, so he's not going to kill his father. And so I think she just has no morals whatsoever. Like she's not even a human being apparently. So she can kill whoever she wants. She doesn't care. Whereas he has, like, it's like what you were saying. Like you're supposed to like this character. So I guess that's why she wanted it, is because he's still a good guy, even though he's really not at all.
She is just,
Question
very corrupt.
for you. So if she put all of the officers' names down on the death note, why didn't she put down Light's dad's name, do you think? I know obviously
he wasn't following. So they had people that came in that followed everyone that was a suspect. It wasn't like Elle wasn't following people, and his dad wasn't following people. It was a team that was brought in to follow people.
Oh, okay.
So, well, yeah, they killed all of them because that way it wouldn't. If one of them just died, it'd be obvious who Kira was. So that's why they killed all of them. But yeah, I guess since his father wasn't like directly. I mean, she probably. I guess she didn't, because then it would have been like way too obvious that she was against Light.
She would have lost Light there, and he would have put her name in.
And
probably.
I didn't really get the feeling that she had any. Like she said, she has that scene where she comes back and she's like, "Oh, I love you," but I never really felt like there was a dilemma for her. It felt like she just wanted the Death Note and she couldn't give less of a shit about Light. So I think that's probably part of it too. Is like you just can't really understand her because she's always. Like I never really felt genuine.
And that's what I mean. It would have been better had there been some kind of motive, like shift to her home life for a minute and she's getting beaten up or some shit. Like anything. Like I just feel like, why were you doing this? Like, you just want to kill people? Did someone also kill your mom? Like, what is?
Like even if there was just like for maybe another half an hour in the movie where she didn't know that he was Kira and they just like got to know each other for other reasons, and maybe she actually. You can feel that she develops like feelings for him or something, and then it would make more sense past when she knows about the Death Note. But I mean, in the movie, they have like that initial scene where he like tries to save her from the bully, and then isn't like the next scene they have like pretty much the reveal when he tells her about the note.
100% it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you like that's really their whole, the entirety of their relationship is, you know, through the Death Note as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's really weird.
I
Just
don't know.
unfortunate.
I don't understand. That would have at least helped too as far as the reveal.
Mhm.
Like if some random guy just came up to me and was like, "Oh, look at this thing that I can use to kill people," I'd be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I wouldn't just be like, "Oh yeah, let's try and kill people."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It seemed really off. There definitely needed to be more background between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Also, for like this supposedly very smart person to just go around showing this to some random person you've never really talked to before,
Yeah.
who got you into detention.
Yeah.
Conveniently, like
Yeah,
just a completely evil psychopath who has, you know, no morals whatsoever. That's pretty inconvenient. That's pretty
kind
unlucky.
of fucked up there, honestly.
Well, I'm thinking of it. I do want to give a shout out to the movie though that they did give background to the word Kira, saying it's light in Russian and killer in Japanese, so it works out well that it's in multiple places. I will give them a shout out for that because in the Japanese version, it's just Kira just is the name that's given to him.
And is that like from the anime?
His name is
Yeah,
Kira.
Kira, but
Yeah, but like
he doesn't pick the name.
No, the cops call him Kira, I believe.
Either the cops or the yeah, I don't know.
Because it's
I think it's
murder in
I think it's the
Japanese,
cops. Just like there's this like killer going around, which is Kira, I guess, and then the name kind of gets sensational on the internet when people figure out that there's this one entity killing all these people.
And he
Right.
does get people to write like Kira and stuff
Yeah.
on the walls with their blood before they die and things like that.
well, that's a cool detail, and that's like I guess that's something new that they added that actually worked. Because that comes in later too when Elle is investigating. So let's talk about Elle next, because I don't know what to say yet. So one of you start.
I'd say he's the least bad of all the characters.
Acting wise, I think he was doing
yeah.
what the script told him to do. Well,
Yeah,
it
I
seemed
thought
like.
I thought he did a decent job acting. Just like as far as the characters were written, he was written the least poorly.
Until
But-
the end.
Yeah. Well, even then, I wouldn't say the end's awful, but it just doesn't follow the source material at all. But even then, it's like still not that good. But it's just better than the others.
Mhm.
So
Taylor?
You know, I like this whole assassin get up, you know.
I'm sure you did.
Oh,
in the hood, like, that's the kind of style I want to start rocking, you know. It was badass. Like, I was
Start
thinking,
rocking.
this guy
Halloween,
is
man.
Halloween.
You can be Elle.
I can be Al. He's
I'm not going to be another
mysterious.
character from the movie. though.
I need light, and I need,
No.
what's her
No.
face?
you can do all of
Ryuk.
them.
What's her face, Ryuk?
Yeah,
I don't think her name's Ryuk.
But no, I thought he was really, really cool. I liked how he was very different, and like it shows him like run into the room or whatever, and you assume like a normal person would sit down, but when it pans out, he's got his feet on the chair, and it's like, you know, I can relate to that. That's the kind of thing that I'd want to do, but I don't. So I just I don't know. He was overall just a very cool, interesting character.
I did like how they gave him little quirks like that, how he always sat like that, and how he was just always chowing down on candy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like completely irrelevant to the story, but it just, you know, it gives characters,
Yeah.
I don't know, something to make them more personal.
Mm-hmm. I liked being able to follow along with the way he was thinking too, like just, and his ideas too of how he was kind of deducing who Kira was, and I thought he was just a really overall cool character. Definitely, he's my second favorite, I have to say. He's really, really cool dude.
Cool.
So those quirks that you're talking about, like how he sits on the chair and how he eats candy, those are from the anime. It's not like handfuls like he was doing, but he's always like snacking on something.
Something sweet.
Yeah, but there's other quirks too that they didn't even mention. Like normally when he holds a phone, he like holds it up like this.
He did hold, like, at least a couple times, he was holding a phone, like, not how I would hold a phone, at least. But definitely not like a banana or something.
Yeah, so, I think separating it from the anime, I definitely agree this kind of the least worst character. That's, you know.
Death Note, everyone.
Yeah. So, I don't know, like, I don't feel like the end is realistic with him, even just as a person
Based on his
aside.
character from earlier.
Yeah, like, he's supposed to be all calculated and, you know, I only need 1 hour of sleep and I can figure it out and there's this many options and I already know that this is Kira. but then he jumps in a car and steals it and tries to shoot a bunch of people. And...
Well, I think because this character, I feel like makes the most sense plot wise, and I think the reason why he kind of loses his cool is obviously because of what's the guy's name? Watari. How is that actually his name?
Yeah, Watari. Well,
okay. Watari. Yeah. So obviously that guy is essentially his like father. It's figure. It's like his only family. It's someone he's known.
Mm-hmm.
The only person who he's like known his entire life. And even though that guy didn't know his actual name, he's the only person that probably knows L. You know, other than the other orphan assassins such as Batman or something. But like yeah, I mean I don't know in this version of Death Note in this movie if there actually is other ones because obviously that base is all shut down. But I don't know. I think that actually kind of made sense that he kind of lost his cool and just only had one purpose in mind and didn't really care what the results were. Because it's not like he just went off and like killed a bunch of cops or anything. He just stole a police car.
Did he even
Destroyed
steal
a bunch
it?
of things.
Maybe it was available to him and Watari to drive.
When he was reversing, he didn't need to smash into the other car right away. That was pretty
It
unnecessary.
was meant to so you could feel his rage
You could tell
in
he
the
couldn't
situation.
You could tell he couldn't drive.
He's also a very.
It's pretty hard to drive when you like sit like a gargoyle in your seat. You can't hit the
It's true.
you can't hit the gas pedal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, don't.
He's probably
That's
never,
a big plot hole right
probably
now.
never driven a vehicle either.
He's probably got one of those ones that like people in a wheelchair can use, where you like, accelerate and gas with your fingers, so he can still
He probably
gargoyle
does.
it.
He probably does.
Yeah.
That's like a normal thing for
His
cops
own-
to not have legs, right?
No, it's pretty regular, I'd say.
Happened once or twice.
I think. Okay, so you know how he obviously had that gun. Do you think he was gonna kill Kira?
No.
If he got the chance?
No.
I think maybe.
I mean, he
Based on-
did kind
based
of
on the
have a
fact that
chance.
He was ready to write his name down. in the
Ah,
Death Note in the
you
end.
could see he was struggling with it though.
Yeah, but
He's
he
having
might
an
struggle
internal
with the
struggle.
gun. He might
He
have.
wasn't going to
I mean,
shoot him straight up.
It's hard to say because he like kind of had that. He had. I guess that one scene when like he Light
that
ran
girl's
through
sword,
traffic,
yeah.
so he could have shot him, but I understand why he didn't. Because like, what if a car drove by and he like shot some random person? But then the other time when he like catches up to him and he fires a couple times in the air, like he could have killed him probably.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he would have.
I think he thought he had him, and I mean, a lot of his character's
To that
purpose
convenient
was to
guy
bring him
with the
to
plank,
justice
Could've shot
rather
him in the
than
knee.
actually shooting him.
True.
Yeah, you could have, but I mean, I don't think he's ever shot a gun in his life.
Oh, he's
He's
twice in the air.
At a person.
There could have been someone up there. Batman.
True.
Yeah, I think I would say you say least worst. That's one way to put it. I would say I would agree with that. Like I think he was actually he made the most sense in turn. Like I feel like I could explain his plot and
Yep.
I think his backstory is weird. Like I think that there's like this orphanage that just like trains detectives. Very bizarre, but you know whatever. I'll take it. And yeah, I guess I think it would have been better if he was more mysterious. Like it sounds like in the anime. Obviously, if you don't really have time, or I guess you probably do have time if you do it right. But they chose to make him more like upfront, and you get to see him more. So yeah, I liked the quirkiness of his character, and for the most part, I thought he did the best like acting wise throughout the movie. Other than maybe like Light's dad, I think he did fine for what he was supposed to do. So yeah, I thought he was like a pretty decent character, but not really good enough to like redeem all the other garbage characters. And I found that his like just because I didn't really like Light or even like the acting, I found that when those two finally met up and were talking in person, I think it was like at like that coffee shop or something. That was incredibly anticlimactic. Because obviously, like those kind of moments, really looking forward to it because he's on to Kira.
Building up to their confrontation.
Yeah, exactly. And that actually is another the other scene where Light and his father are having dinner and they're like having that classic conversation of, who is this guy? And he's like sitting across the table from him. I felt that was like just really poorly done. I mean, many movies have done that before and many did it better. Like I think of like Spider-Man recently, even if that movie wasn't the greatest, that scene when, Peter Parker's in the back, kind of spoiler alert, like Peter Parker's in the back and Vulture's like in the front, like those suspense moments when like certain characters know each other and other people don't, like I don't know, they can really, it's like a, you know, kind of amp up like some thrill aspect to it, but
Yeah.
that I didn't really get any of those from what could have been some really good character moments in this movie. So even like if those opportunities were done right in this movie, that I don't know, maybe that probably would have made it like a better experience overall. Maybe you'd understand motivations for characters, like other characters.
Well, even in that interaction too, he's just like, well, if I was Kira, blah blah blah, and it's like,
he's not even trying.
Yeah, it just felt like, you know, wouldn't you at least try to say that you're not Kira? Why would you just be like, well, if I was, you should do this?
As long as I don't say I'm actually Kira, I'm safe.
He'll
Yeah.
never know.
So,
He's just bluffing.
I don't know. I guess he did just tell that chick after 5 minutes that he had it, so he's obviously not
Very trusting.
Very insecure, I would say.
Good word for it.
Nice.
Not trusting.
But yet he's also very confident. So that doesn't really make sense.
that was one of the biggest things with his character. I was like, what's he doing here?
Where are you? So what do you guys think of Ryuk? Comparatively and in this movie.
You don't really get enough to be able to...
Yeah.
I feel like he's in there quite a bit. I feel like there's enough to form an opinion. Yeah?
I will give a shout out to the line that it's like, there's 4 letters in my name, the most anyone's ever got to is 2. That was a solid line.
It's pretty badass.
Super enjoyed it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Cool.
Yeah, that was alright.
That's all I really remember of him.
Really? Okay.
Ryuk definitely plays... He plays a bigger part in the anime, but, like, not necessarily influence-wise, but he's just there more often. Whereas he's like only in there for certain parts, I guess, like very in and out. But yeah, no, you don't really get a lot of his character because in the anime he's actually like a pretty big character, just like the way he's fleshed out and like what he's doing in the world and like what he gets his kicks from.
Yeah,
whereas
he
in
like
this,
follows light everywhere, and you get to find out why he's down here and things like that. But this one, he's like 2 seconds here, 2 seconds here, and then all this stuff happens. You're like, where is he? So, I don't know. It's just hard to form an opinion on only a couple lines, and you don't actually see the animation for him. You only kind of see the shadow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It wasn't bad. It just wasn't really fleshed out either, so it's hard to really think of it as much of a role.
Taylor?
I think he's probably my most favorite, just because, like...
There's not that many characters. There's like 5 characters.
Yeah,
So.
he was
He's in top 5.
I felt like he was in there a lot. He was very cool. Like every time he popped up on the screen, I was like, oh, like
He definitely liked to pop up.
he
on screen.
did pop up on the screen when he dropped that line, like the 4 letters of my name. Like I was like, oh, now he's getting very salty here, and just
I don't know if that's the proper usage of salty.
It's just-
in any
it's
sense of
a
the word.
usage of salty.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
well, he was getting very threatening and like don't you try and turn your back on me, like because I will fudge you up. So
I don't think that was one of his lines. Actually.
no, it wasn't. Like his first appearance or whatever, like I thought that like they really built up well. I was really excited about that, and I mean it was just like he's the reason why I wanted to watch Death Note because like I
really
I like watching the trailer and kind of just seeing that there's this other kind of godly like entity or something out there, dark and everything mysterious. I thought it was really cool, and so I wanted to see that, and that's what I got. You know, he was told who to kill and was told what to do, but at the same time it was his game from the start to finish. He was pulling the strings, and I mean I like that like yes, he was told what to do, but he knew like people writing in that Death Note, they're gonna get out of control, and you have to deal with the consequences in the real world. And even at the end when he's like, I can't remember exactly what he says, but it's a remark like I find you humans amusing or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was really really funny. I don't know.
I think that was his last line, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah. He's just such a really cool character, and sucks that won't really be able to see him in another live action probably.
Yeah, I don't
Japanese
consider
live
it.
action.
Japanese live
There you
action.
go.
There you go, yeah.
So is the character in the anime and manga stuff, is he still shrouded in a lot of mystery? Like do you ever really learn his backstory or
There's
where he
a
came
lot of
from and
backstory.
Yeah.
okay.
It's not like
you find out why he has 2 death notes in the first place to even give one to Light.
Mm-hmm.
Where in this one, they don't even talk about him having his own death note or anything.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Yeah, I thought I actually liked his look more than I thought, because I remember in the trailer, when I first saw him, my first reaction was, ooh, I don't like the look of that at all. But I ended up liking the look. I think there's only like really a couple shots where you get like a clean look on him, but I thought he looked kind of cool, and the voice, obviously, Willem Dafoe is
fantastic.
Yeah, he's great. So.
Well, this is him in the Japanese live action.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Let's see.
Looks like Edward Scissorhands.
That looks much similar to. That's like what I would picture more just from watching the anime.
Yeah, it's actually they put the proper time in. Like you actually get his whole body. Like they actually show everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Just my opinion that.
Yeah, I mean, I have no reference point to what he looks like elsewhere, but I thought it was better than I was expecting, just because from the trailer at least. As for the character, yeah, he did have a couple cool lines, and he was sort of interesting, but I mean, I don't really know anything about him. Like, I would like to know, some more about where he comes from and like what his powers really are. Like, I don't know. There's so much more there to be delved into. So obviously, that's what the anime is there for. But I think for the most part, like a lot of his lines were very clear exposition, and that kind of annoyed me, just because I felt like the character like that should maybe be a little more cryptic in the way he just like gets across his message and talks to Light, whereas he kind of just pops out and is like, hey, I'm your best friend now, like, I'm just gonna hang out in your closet and eat your apples, and they kind of become friends pretty quick, I mean, it's a weird friendship, but they're still kind of pals. I'm not gonna say I'm disappointed in the character. I didn't really have any expectations. I think he was slightly better than I thought he was going to be, but once again, when you compare that to, where the average is of this movie, it's like, that's a pretty low average. What else? I guess
on the Death Note thing, the Japanese movie, they actually do get Rem as well, and Rem is another death god that is actually part of it, that they don't even mention in this at all.
That's cool.
So, I feel like they had a lot more potential for things that they could have had time for in this movie, as far as the Shinigami, the Death God situation. Like, it was really left open with not a lot of explanation. I feel really disappointed in it, honestly. Just, even for the fact, is probably, like, Taylor probably feels this way, that, like, do you really understand any of it, or get what was going on with him, or, like, do you wonder what the heck's...
Like, with Ryuk?
Yeah.
I feel like he's just there for a good time. That's about all I
mean, you're not
honestly, that's
wrong.
that's not that's like similar assumption I would have, just because that's all we really get. Like he's sits around and explains some of the rules, and that you can't really mess with him, but that's about it. Like you don't really know what his purpose is, or I guess where he comes from, and obviously we don't know any other death gods, so you have no like reference point of what some other ones are like, or I guess there's like the father in this movie. He's like the only other character. He was pretty much
did a pretty good job too.
Yeah,
I think acting wise, he did
probably the best.
Honestly, probably like relative to how much screen time he had. He's pretty boring though. Like I was saying, those scenes that could have been suspenseful with him and still not knowing that his son was part of it, or maybe even show some scenes where he's like he is thinking about that. He's like, what if that really is the case, and maybe he sort of believes Elle at some point. Like those could have been some really fun scenes if they went into that, but obviously they just played off as like the oblivious kind of dad character, even though he's a detective. But
I don't feel like they looked like each other, and Light was taller than his dad, and I just
that happens. I'm taller than my dad.
But you look like your dad.
Do I?
I
don't know. You've seen
Not
my
as
dad.
much as some dads and sons look alike.
It's true.
I don't know. I just felt like it could have been a better pairing. That's all I'm saying.
They could have brought his real father in there. That would have been
pretty sick.
That would have been great.
The acting would have been about the same.
Maybe he just looked more like his mom that died.
Yeah,
that's a good
maybe
point.
His mom had
maybe
superior genetics.
Maybe she like hit up the sperm bank or something, and he's not actually like a biological father. Like
That's a good point.
And
also a
that's,
possibility.
Like, I don't know. That has some plot part.
I don't. I wish I'm glad they didn't go into that plot, because then it would have made the plots that we got even worse than they already were.
That's
so
true.
yeah, I guess there's really not else much to say about that character. He's like even his scene, like the very final scene with Light in the hospital room,
Yeah,
and like
that
the
one was
reveal.
bad.
It's like, oh wow, I'm excited I got to see that. Like they shouldn't even put that in the movie. Like there's
No.
no point. Also, I'll say this, Tyler, because you used my Netflix. You
Yeah.
left the movie open on the final scene. That is so fucking BM.
It's
Like-
actually in the credits when I left it open.
Well, not when I opened up and
It's because
clicked Death Note.
it always goes back a couple
Oh,
seconds, so that way when you
yikes.
start it again.
That was not
Yikes.
cool, man.
Well,
I mean, it didn't, like, I knew when he fell off of the Ferris wheel, I knew he wasn't going to die. I had been spoiled, but I kind of just felt like he wasn't going to die.
Huh.
But still, like, come on, man. Like,
I
that's
didn't
not
think
cool.
about that. I thought the movie was over, so I'm done. I'm out of here.
I don't know, what else? I feel like we've kind of talked about most of the story elements. You guys have any other notes here? The music, I felt for me like there was a couple, like,
Was it-
cool moments, but overall it was just very, like, cookie
Oof.
cutter.
It's not even something I thought about.
It's not one I'm going to
I
be
didn't
downloading
notice
on
it at all.
iTunes.
No, sir.
Taylor, you love downloading soundtracks.
I
on
do,
iTunes.
but
is this going to be a top
I
of
have
your
to
list?
rewatch it to kind of listen because I haven't even paid.
If you're gonna
attention
rewatch
to
it.
the story.
Really?
I
Wow.
might
That's
give it a
bold.
rewatch. Yeah.
My
That
condolences
is-
to you.
Yes.
So like after like we watched like the Ghost in the Shell kind of thing. Like how
We
do we
did.
feel about like anime turn into film adaptations?
It wasn't
Not
as
great in
bad as Ghost
2017.
in the Shell,
Okay.
but
Oh.
it's still terrible.
Wow, Ghost in the Shell was worse?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Have you not seen that yet?
No.
Like,
This is why. This
although it might be because I feel like it actually helped that for people who saw the anime before, because it allowed me to follow the turn of events. I'm just like, okay, so this is kind of following where they went this way in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you hadn't, I feel like if you hadn't seen the anime before, you'd be very lost for a lot of things. I don't know if you guys actually were.
I think that's
Seemed
kind of
like you followed it along at least kind of decently.
Of Ghost in the Shell, are you talking about?
No, Death Note.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a fairly simple story. It just really had no emotion behind it because
Yeah.
of the pacing.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, do you guys have any other points?
Not a whole lot.
Watch the anime instead.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix
This
as well.
made me really want to rewatch the anime because I started thinking about, man, the anime did this stuff so much better. I'm just like, yeah,
It's
that was
so
actually
much
really
better.
good.
So much
So-
better.
Similar concept, but executed much better.
You know, even if they would have made this movie like 2.5 hours and taken that extra hour to add in more things,
Mm-hmm.
I think even though it would be longer, I would be happier with it because there's just there's nothing to make me feel for the characters. There's nothing to give me a backstory. It's just bam, 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 and
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I honestly, I think that if they had some more time to play with, they really could have. They could have even resolved like a couple characters for me. Whereas right now, I feel like I understand L, and they leave it ambiguous at the end. But I don't think he would have wrote his name down.
No.
And I think that storyline was actually, it was done. I'd say it was done well. But other than that, like no characters really were like no characters there enough to like me ever want to watch this again. Like it didn't. Nothing really gripped me, and it just skipped past everything. So I think if they had more time, like they could have definitely, I guess, given a couple of characters more. Maybe not all of them, but they could have maybe given a couple more characters like some actual motivations and made them somewhat make sense.
Yeah, and they could have paced it in a way that the climax actually seemed interesting and impactful rather than I don't know, it just ended at a very weird time, and then the way it ended, it just didn't feel like an ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they probably have the intention of doing another.
I don't want that.
I mean, I guess they could go into something, but it seemed like for this story they're concluded, I guess.
Yeah.
I think they tied up the loose ends with the. I guess it was when Light was explaining to his father how it all happened, and he was telling him, exactly what he wrote. So it kind of ties it all in. But I found like I didn't really need that. I guess I guess it's good to put it in there rather than it being like a plot hole or something. But Yeah, like that scene in the hospital, man, that was just so boring. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's because I didn't like the character, but.
Yeah.
You guys have anything else, or should we get into some scores?
There you go, scores.
Okay. Tyler, what do you got?
Oof.
I'm excited for this because I know you're going to use an adjective that's going to be fun.
Ooh, you're right.
And now, if you don't have one prepared,
I don't have one
pressure
prepared.
is on.
It's very on. It was a It was a very mushy 4. I'm gonna say.
A mushy 4.
I feel
Yeah.
like that was a disappointment.
It wasn't that good.
Okay.
You know, it's like you have a plate, like you have an apple on a plate, and you're just like, "This is a great apple," and you like pick it up, and it's just really mushy and soft, and your fingers like dig, like just go into it. They sink
what
into it.
What if on the plate is mashed potatoes and it's like, oh, these are nice and mushy? No?
No. Potatoes aren't relevant to this
Okay.
person.
Fair enough. You know,
Like-
you're right. I had no right to bring potatoes into
Come
this
on.
conversation.
You know, like when I say it's like a solid 9, solid is like a high. It's high level.
Mhm.
You know, the
Mushy.
more
Mushy is lower.
the more solid something is, like something was
Right.
like a diamond 9. That's very solid,
Okay.
like exceptionally solid, above solid.
Yeah.
You know, like a platinum.
Yeah.
You know, if I said it was like a watery kind of.
No,
So
I think I would
like
agree
it.
that if you're describing a movie and it's a mushy 4, but don't people also use the word mushy to say something's like emotional or it makes you like cry and stuff like that, like a good like
I don't.
rom-com or something?
I don't.
You don't, but how many
No.
rom-coms do you watch? Exactly.
I've had a fair amount.
Okay, you
Yeah.
do. Oh, I didn't know that.
They're animes, but like, you know, I watch them.
And you'd never
I
describe
don't
them as
really
mushy.
describe them as mushy. No,
Interesting.
mushy, not good. Not a
Taylor.
good adjective.
You know, as I said many times, I haven't watched the anime, but you know, my closest kind of thing I can go to here is Ghost in the Shell. I mean,
It's
Not a
true.
good thing.
it's not a good thing, no. Like it's in many ways, like I like it more than Ghost in the Shell, but in other ways, I like Ghost in the Shell more. And like this, it felt like as soon as I started watching it, it felt like it was a TV show. I was waiting for it to be like the half an hour mark and the episode ends, and I just gotta unfortunately click on the next episode. I mean, but.
I thought you liked it, kind of.
I did, kinda.
Not enough to click next episode.
It was
Your
know,
motives make about as much sense as Maya or Mia.
pretty much.
It's like,
You got it.
it's true.
Yeah, no, like it felt like a TV show, and I didn't like that because I wanted to feel like a movie. I had the intention of sitting down to.
It is a movie.
It is a movie, but it didn't feel like it. I mean,
Oh.
like it. Yeah, it feels like I watched in a half-an-hour episode, and then I went to click next for episode 2, and when episode 2 played, it was the season finale. I'm thinking, what the hell did I just miss? Like,
Okay.
That's fair.
That's
point.
actually.
I agree.
That's not bad. I was doubting this comparison. It turned out alright.
It was very convoluted. You know, it went through some plot twists, but at the end, it made
Just like
all good
movies.
sense.
but
What
I
about the
mean,
finale?
I can't remember when I gave Ghost in the Shell.
Probably
this,
like a 7.
probably like a 7 then.
I think it was like a 6, honestly.
Like a
Oh, wow.
6. I don't know. I don't think I've given anything a 6 to be honest.
Okay, maybe it's like
I'm not at 6s yet. I'm working my way down.
I'm just
You're working your way down.
Yeah, took me a long time to get to 7s.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, so I'll probably go like a 7.5. No, 7.4. Oh, 7.5. Because Ryuk was cool, and that L guy was
That
just
gave a
so,
0.1.
Yeah, L was just
Okay.
fantastic, and you
It
know,
was fantastic.
like I like the plot they were going with and everything. And it was being dragged by a few anchors, but you know, you can drop those
Few.
anchors and just sail.
Usually
So.
one's enough to slow something down. So.
Not Death Note.
Alrighty.
Just
So I've taken on Dylan's system as well of not giving anything numbers.
boom. One converted. The rest of you will
I've been
follow
converted
suit.
for a couple episodes. I just haven't seen you guys, obviously.
Saw.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
so-
there was that.
That's
and-
not released in
I
public
wasn't
though,
there.
so that's an insider note.
Ooh, yeah, there you go. I think there was a
Thanks.
Netflix and fail as well that I followed suit with.
Maybe.
Anyway, I give it a thumbs down. That's my. It's like.
It's like a Roman Colosseum
That's
thing.
well, that's how Netflix rates things.
That's,
So
yeah, that's
Die.
Netflix is.
if this was
Uh,
Netflix and fail,
Give
which
Netflix a
this could
taste
be,
of their own medicine.
That's what I was thinking. You know, I think this will be a Netflix and fail in like.
then I'd have to watch
10
it again.
years.
No, because you've already seen it, so we're free.
Yeah, but I'm gonna forget it in a day because it was so bad.
I've already forgotten. I just know it was a thumbs down. Matt's gonna want to watch it because he didn't
Oh,
watch it last
yikes.
night, and I'm gonna be like,
Just
wait,
tell him not to. Tell him his life's better without
Yeah.
it.
you can wait till I'm in school again, and I'm not home.
All right. Well, I appreciate that you've gotten rid of that system. I feel like I'm finally getting through to people. But it's not like I just don't think about movies. I've been keeping a tier list of this year so far. So, just ranking movies relative to each other just for this year. At the very bottom of my list in its own category is Ghost in the Shell. That is my worst movie this year so far. And I think I got to think about it more because I just watched this movie today. But I think it is also in that tier with Ghost in the Shell. I don't know which one is worse. I feel like this might be worse. I don't know. I still got to think about it more. But it's certainly starting at the bottom, you could say, and I don't think it's getting very high. It's gonna define the new bottom. Yeah, this was not a good movie. There was like, I kind of liked like one character, and then the rest were awful. And story, I don't know, it was just boring. It didn't really make sense at some points. I'm not gonna say that this turned me off Death Note because I actually, now that you guys mentioned that there is like more backstory just in terms of like the lore of it, that is kind of what I'm interested in from this. Like I don't care about Light, and so I'm not excited to watch the show for that, but I'm more interested in that backstory stuff. I'm sure I'll like the rest of it on the way when I do watch the show eventually, but yeah, this movie, very disappointing. Don't watch it. I mean, you can watch it, but
Yeah, it's not
you
worth
know,
watching.
maybe like put it on while you're like cooking dinner or something. Not
Well,
even dinner.
no.
When you're doing the
No,
dishes.
but the thing is, you
Yeah.
can't even do that because even when you watch it, you miss so much that if you put it on while you're not watching it, while you're cooking, like, it's just going to be an absolute shit show.
Just don't
You're
acknowledge
not
it.
wrong. You're not wrong.
Not wrong, no.
All right, Taylor, where can they find us?
No, we got to do housekeeping. We got to mention.
Housekeeping, of course.
Yeah.
That's what this is for, though.
Oh, are you going to do that? Okay, mention
Oh,
the
okay.
housekeeping.
I don't know exactly if you're referring to something specifically in the housekeeping. Did Travis say something?
He
Travis
did.
did say something.
He did.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't
Why?
feel confident saying it.
I also
the
knew
group
that.
chat.
I didn't forget.
I'm
We're
gonna
getting
send
there.
him in person right now. I'm sending you the M.
The M?
Yeah, check your messages.
Oh.
You don't need to check
Yeah,
your
you
messages
don't
right
actually
now.
need to check your messages.
I haven't been really tuned into the group
Start with
chat.
Facebook.
Facebook. You know, I love Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. It is fantastic. You can go on your newsfeed and go on your friends' newsfeeds. But you know what? The newsfeed I want you to
You
go
can't go on
on.
your friends' news.
In the search bar, go on the newsfeed of GeekVerse Spacepod. Whoa! Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, Travis. Well, yeah.
We gotcha.
Gotcha. So on
Wow,
your
guys.
on your Facebook in the search bar, you gotta type in Geek for Space Podcast, and you're gonna find this review. You're gonna find all of our new stuff, like our Saw retrospective we
Our
did,
Ghost in the
a little
Shell
bit,
review.
Ghost in the Shell, the anime. Ooh, and then we got like,
I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this anymore.
we got tons of great stuff. I mean, there's tons of spin-off shows on there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, particularly we got like our gauntlet right now. We got the 6-way gauntlet match that just came out. I mean, Travis is pretty hyped about this because he's the champion. He's apparently defending against all of us.
Apparently, he doesn't tell us
peasants.
these things.
I guess, yeah, he doesn't tell us much. We just show up to these things.
Not
Yeah.
wrong.
He, I think overall it's a pretty good turnout, and you should check it out.
It's a good turn.
I can't say any
There were
spoilers.
6 people there, at least.
Yeah, no, check it out. It's a huge party, and so
It's actually a competition.
it's a competition, but it is
Parties
a party.
can be competitions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such as Mario Party.
Wow,
So if
okay.
you're curious to see what happens, go give it a watch because it's Travis and he's a champion. But yeah, so check out all of our other sites. We got Twitter at GeekVerseCast.
Twitter's at
We
GeekVerseCast.
have GeekVersePodcast.com, and we have Twitch, YouTube, SoundCloud,
Podbay. I love
Podbay.
Podbay.
That's
Podbay,
the
great place.
prime
That's
one
where all
right
of our
there.
worst fans are. The people that hate us.
Mhm.
They drop really
Can
mean
you really call them
reviews. It
fans?
makes me sad. Yeah, I don't know. They put a review down.
There you go.
That's
The
a-
diehard
That's what we
fans.
want.
There's even Reddit. of course.
Well, I mean, I haven't really posted on there in a while. No one showed up. Maybe I'll put some more stuff on there, but it's kind of boring.
Our website's apparently getting updated soon.
Yeah, I
Ooh.
will be doing that because the
Good old
website
website
it was a little twerkish there for a bit. I tried updating it, but it was
Twerkish?
like, you know,
What does that mean?
Yeah, twerkish. You know, it's like when you go onto a computer and you're trying to do something, and the computer's like, no, and so you can't do it.
I don't
Twerkish.
think twerkish is the right word.
It is now. I'm gonna use that.
Hashtag Turkish.
Hashtag twerkish.
But yeah,
Hashtag save
definitely,
animals.
if you like what you saw here and you want to see more of it, then you should definitely send us, like, you know, a little bit of, like, if you have, like, $1 underneath your vending machine or your fridge or something.
Vending machine.
Underneath your
If you own a vending machine, you're loaded. So.
You can find a lot of dollars in there.
Definitely, you know, look underneath. If you're at work, you know, look underneath, like, in the staff room, your vending machines or your fridges. And, like, if you find, like, $1, that dollar can go to us because we'll give you more extra awesome
On
content.
Patreon, you should.
Yeah.
On Patreon is where it
Where
counts.
can they give us this
Like,
dollar?
well, you could mail it to us. That would be hype.
Yeah.
We'd put it on the wall, probably.
But you still need to like send us $1 on Patreon so we can actually give you the content.
Exactly. That's where it counts. All that content's on Patreon.
There is
You
a lot
get
of content.
weeks in
There's
advance.
there's a ton of always a bunch of Spider-Man stuff on there. Saw retrospectives are going to go up early. We're doing Marvel retrospectives, so all the MCU movies. Those are going to go up there early. There's something on there that's like not coming out till like December, so you can get some stuff like pretty early. There's a lot of fun stuff on there
For only $1.
for only $1.
$1.
One whole
Yeah.
dollar. That's
Or
not a lot.
you can
I could
donate
do
more
that.
though, and you get a lot more incentive too.
Now
if you
you're
donate
begging,
it.
and I don't like that, so
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
going to
begging.
cut you off
Stop it.
there.
But yeah, no, and Geeks Creed, you know, there's a new episode of that coming out soon. We got a lot of Assassin's Creed to talk about, so that's gonna be good.
Cool.
Nice.
Next week we're doing a newscast. We're going to be talking about Gamescom. We're going to talk about a lot of Xbox stuff and a lot of the DC news. I know Travis and you as well kind of talked about some of the DC stuff
That was so
on our
unexpected.
YouTube if you guys want to check that out. But we're talking about it more next week. And the week after that, I think is that one? Is when that
Sounds
comes
right.
out?
Yeah,
and
and
then
then Jigsaw is after in
Good
October.
old IT.
Yeah, there's a bunch. There's going to be a bunch of reviews coming out, so definitely stay tuned. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day and a better tomorrow.